This is Steve McCann from PhillyGayCalendar.com here at the LGBT Center at the University of Pennsylvania with international rugby star Ben Cohen. Welcome to Philadelphia.
Thank you very much.
Is this your first time?
It is, and it's lovely. The weather reminds me of home, so it's no, very good. It's nice, thank you.
Have you had a chance to explore Philadelphia at all?
I noticed a little bit of a walk around. I haven't been here long, so yeah, just had a little walk around, and we come in late last night, so yeah, lovely place.
So tell us what you're here to speak about.
Basically about our foundation, which is the StandUp Foundation, and how it came about, how I got into being an advocate, and how we're using my story and how we set up the foundation to eradicate homophobia in sport, homophobic bullying, and bullying in general.
How did you get started in this foundation?
It's a long story, but I cut it very short, which ran out of tape. My father got brutally attacked in a nightclub we owned in 2000, and you know, he was murdered, and it was a long. What that emotional damage, and you know, it was everlasting really, and what it did to the family was, you know, was really devastating. You know, we couldn't bury my dad for 2 years, and he was brutally attacked, bitten across the face, and in court cases, and because it was a court case, we couldn't bury my dad straight away. But you know, without going into too much detail, it was graphic. Then fast forward 6 years, about 6 years, and I found out I had a following on Facebook, and then Jill found out that a guy in Paris called Laurent had set up a Facebook page of 37,000 people it had on it. So, and she said that I had that following, and I said, "Are you sure you got the right guy?" And then she said, "Yeah, but you're like this. They're all men." And it was quite, you know, it was for me, having that following, regardless what their sexual orientation was, for me it came with a sense of responsibility in some way, you know, and not necessarily a lot of people would actually see it like that, but actually I found that by having that following, I was a role model, and whether they find me attractive or not, that actually I was in a privileged position to be a voice. And that's how it started, you know, about 5-6 years ago. Just revolving and actually being a message, because no one deserves to be bullied. Everyone has the right to be loved and love others, most definitely. And we know it was sad to see and hear, you know, these devastating stories that people are going through, you know, and not having that family influence structure to turn inwards, or having the friends to turn out to, and maybe running away from home and having low self-esteem of where that takes them, you know, could be in crime, it could be selling themselves, it could be living on the streets, it could be a whole host of things, you know, could contract AIDS, you know, and ultimately do the unthinkable, kill themselves. So there's a real knock-on effect to that, and so that's how. And while I was, you know, doing interviews and maybe magazines and things like that, you know, just spreading a sort of a message of hope, really, you know, that being a straight guy, married, and now with children, that, you know, I'm not homophobic, and I'm in one of the toughest sports in the world, and I'm very, very successful at it. But you know, everyone should be treated like they, you know, would want to be treated themselves, and that's how, you know, that's how it came about. And actually, that probably it's not. And I could have carried on playing rugby for another 2 years before I retired in May, probably a bit longer. But you know, it was, my passion was starting to actually really want to make a difference. And there is a tipping point now with homophobia in sport and homophobic bullying. And you know, I want to be concentrating all my efforts and passion into that. And that's why I retired to set up the Ben Cohen StandUp Foundation.
What was the reaction of your fellow rugby players and other sports players of you starting a foundation like this?
Yeah, you know, rugby is a very exceptional sport. You know, rugby is, it takes all shapes and sizes, colours, sexual orientation. You can play it in school with kids, tag rugby, and you know, and it is a very exceptional sport. It doesn't have to be a contact sport either. So it was, you know, yeah, I mean, they were fine. You know, Gareth Thomas has just come out. When he came out in sport, he was very well respected, you know, and everyone said, actually, I'm judging you on your sport, not and your talent, not your sexual orientation, and that was fantastic. The response he got.
So, what message would you give to some young athletes who are having trouble being bullied in their sport?
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily just the athlete. I mean, the whole situation of why you're getting bullied, and are the coaches coaching properly, other coaches being might be breeding that sort of environment. Are the players accepting enough? Are they creating the right environment from the senior players of that? You know, there's a lot of different scenarios, but you know, ultimately, it's you know, sometimes that, you know, when people get bullied, you know, they need to stand up for themselves, and ultimately is that when they're at these places, the other people need to stand up with them and say, look, do you know what, this is wrong, and you know, it's about getting them people to stand up with them really, and saying what this affects is happening. And you do see it. You see a lot of it within schools and within universities across the globe, where actually a lot of people, you know, who are gay or come to terms with their sexual orientation, that actually it's easier not going to be in that sports team because they're getting bullied because they're perceived to be different. And that's where a lot of that is not. You don't really see bullying or homophobic bullying in the sort of the professional part of it, especially in the UK, and you know, especially rugby in general is quite exceptional, as I said before. But you know, that's where we want to make the biggest difference, because we don't want people to give up actually a sport they could be world class at and not fulfil their, you know, their destiny.
And how can people get involved? I mean, there's merchandise. We see your shirts and stuff where they can get involved and, you know, support and donate and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're a foundation that doesn't want to compete with any other foundation, especially in what we're doing. So we have a network of HRC, Glisten, Trevor Project, Campus Pride, Matthew Shepherd Foundation, and Stonewall in UK, and we work with the UK government. So we don't want to compete with them, so we actually engage the consumer. So if you want to stop the bullies, you shop the brand, you know, and that's by buying merchandise basically, or donating, and you can get all that from our website, which is StandUp.com. StandUpFoundation.com. Sorry.
How to get the website right. And you also have a 2012...
No, I was about to say something else then. I thought, I won't say that. So yeah, the StandUpFoundation.com.
And you have the 2012 calendar coming out, which is very popular.
Yeah, actually, do you know, we done one shoot in Atlanta in May, and then we did another one just in Chicago a few weeks ago. God, it seems like a lifetime ago. Yeah. So yeah, it's all been talked about now. We're just about going to print actually. So yeah, we're going to we did a vote for the front cover, and that's all decided. And
who won? Which one won?
Who won? I won.
Which cover won?
Yeah, do you know what? I think it was the one with me in the port. No, one with me lying across a bed one.
Because now that you're a big sex symbol.
Yeah, you know what? The thing is that, you know, you got to. You know, I want to break down stereotypes, and we're creating a movement, and you know, by me doing a calendar and, you know, selling it within the gay community and the straight community, but predominantly in the LGBT community, is that actually it does break down stereotypes. You know, say, well, I'm comfortable with my sexuality. I'm not homophobic in any way.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
No worries. Hi, I'm Ben Cohen from the Ben Cohen StandUp Foundation, and you're watching PhillyGayCalendar.com.